So guys, I want to be honest with you. When it comes to e-commerce events and e-commerce webinars, a lot of the time, the focus tends to be around Shopify brands that are purely selling D2C. And having worked with B2B brands and brands that sell wholesale, maybe there's a little bit of frustration, I think is a word, because I think, look, ultimately, guys, you guys watching this and listening to this now are here because you are probably selling wholesale, you're probably selling B2B, maybe for 100% of your online sales, or maybe part of your online sales. And what we wanted to do with this webinar today is look at some specific tactics around those brands that are using Shopify and helping them to boost their wholesale conversions. Now, in order to do this, guys, I wanted to bring two people on to today's webinars that can help. And the first person we have is Alex Webster, who is from SparkLayer, who offer a fantastic platform for B2B clients that we work with, giving them a much easier ability to be able to sell and convert clients better when it comes to B2B. And equally as well, my colleague, Namin Kanik, who is our lead CRO strategist here at Blend Commerce. So without further ado, guys, I am going to bring both of these guys onto the call. Guys, lovely to have you both here.
Yeah, thanks for having me. That's great. Great to see you all.
Good stuff. So what I think we'll do then, guys, is, as I mentioned there, the three of us are going to be taking you through these today. Just a little bit of housekeeping for today, guys. What we are going to do in a moment is give you just a little bit more information about who Blend are, for those of you who don't know us, and equally the same with SparkLayer as well. What we're then going to do is that Alex is going to take us through some specific ideas and tactics from his perspective in terms of what can be done to help improve those revenues from a wholesale point of view. And then the Min is then going to take it from her perspective from Blend and give you some ideas and thoughts and some practical examples on the screen. Now, as we're going through, please do put any questions into the comments, whether you're watching this live on LinkedIn, whether you're watching it directly through StreamYard. Obviously, if you are watching it on replay, do feel free to send us an email or get in touch with the details at the end. And then last but not least, guys, a really crucial, I think, part of today is that we are going to be doing some live reviews at the very end of this webinar. So if any of you have applied for that, a few of you have been selected to do that. So do keep obviously watching towards the end where we're going to be picking up those live webinars. Cool. So that, I guess, is the kind of the equivalent of me showing you where the emergency exits are on the plane. Aside from that, then I think what we'll do is get into the first bit, which is just a little bit from me. So Blend as an agency, we are basically trying to do three things for the clients we work with. And that is get your customers to buy now, buy more, or buy again. So effectively, if you are a Shopify brand, what we are doing as a CRO agency is trying to make those three things happen so that your revenues increase. And we've got some lovely stats there where we're showing off a little bit, but ultimately, look, we've been around for quite a while now. We've worked with some great brands that Certainly Would, where we increased their conversion rate by about 200%, and equally with a brand called Fresh Patch in the US, which we increased their revenue by 180%. So that's my spiel, my sales pitch over, Alex. From your point of view, tell us about SparkLayer.
Yeah, I don't know if I've got 180% to fall back on here, but yeah, that's super impressive. SparkLayer is a UK-based business. So we were established in 2021, and effectively we were an e-commerce solution for B2B. So we help over 2,000 merchants now, all over the globe. A bit like Blend, we've got quite a lot of customers in the States, but also Europe and Australia and New Zealand, as well as the UK, obviously. And basically what we do is layer on top of existing online stores. So instead of someone having to have a dedicated B2B e-commerce platform, we basically add B2B functionality to the e-commerce stores that customers already have or merchants already have, so that you can basically add and create a B2B self-service portal for your B2B customers without having to re-platform. So yeah, like I said, big range of verticals, locations, lots of different types of customers we work with, from those that are just starting out with B2B all the way through to ones who've been doing it for years and want to try and make it a little bit more efficient. Yeah, we, like I said, got a ton of different customers with lots of different use cases for B2B.
Absolutely. And I think, this is the thing, isn't it, with e-commerce? Maybe I'd like to get your perspective on this. With e-commerce, a lot of the rhetoric and the information out there tends to be about D2C, D2C, D2C. And look, of course, it is a big part of the Shopify world, but I think B2B over the past few years is growing exponentially for those ones that were selling D2C and are now bringing in B2B and wholesale as well. Is that fair?
Yeah, absolutely. We see it in two real key markets. So that one where you've got a D2C merchant who is now doing B2B as well. They want to diversify different channels and kind of add that into their mix of different revenue streams. Then that's been a really powerful way or a really strong part of the market in terms of people who are interested in B2B. And the second part is then people who have been doing B2B for a long time but managing it offline, and are now seeing this as a really easy way to start bringing their offline orders to an online setting, and actually e-commerce becoming slightly more accessible for them. So yeah, it's really both, to be honest, direct to consumer going B2B and legacy B2B coming online.
And I guess, look, you guys have got the experience with both those type of businesses. So if people out there are, at those different stages, I think you guys can step in and support, can't you?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, we've got tons of customers in both of those different buckets. So yeah,
Cool.
lots of advice. Hopefully we can share a bit today.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, look, on that note, let's actually get into this, guys. So I think, look, like I said at the start there, we want to share with you today 7 different tactics to try and boost those conversions. We're predominantly looking here today from that B2B perspective. And really to kind of kick us off with us, what's going to happen is that Alex, first of all, is going to take us through some tactics. And then obviously we're going to have a bit of discussion about them. And obviously, again, if you guys have any questions whatsoever, just pop those into the chat. So Alex, I think the first one we've got is the B2C style UX.
Yeah.
Tell us about this.
Interesting one. So it's an interesting point and something that's kind of overlooked. And I think a lot of the rhetoric that's been around B2B e-commerce has been like, well, you don't really need to care about the experience of the website for B2B buyers because, they know what they want and they're just going to kind of order it. And that's exactly what they're going to do, basically. But what we're seeing more and more is that actually more B2C style user experience is needed on a B2B website as well. And partly that's because a B2C buyer is the same as a B2B buyer, right? So the person that's actually logging onto the website and needing to buy things for their business is the same person that would go out and buy a pair of trainers on a website for themselves. And so their expectations of how shopping online actually works and the things that they expect to see and use on a website are kind of matched in that sense. So there are some basic things that you can put in place and things that shouldn't be overlooked, but things that can really help with conversion rates. So stuff like having high quality product imagery and videos. So that really allows the customers to evaluate a product, determine whether it's suitable, whether it's something they'd actually like to stock in their shop, for example. So being able to help someone make that decision with some really high quality product imagery and video is an important thing. Something that's probably slightly more important for B2B versus B2C, but still can equally be important dependent on the product, is things like product specifications, so dimensions, descriptions, usage information, etc. So these things can often be overlooked on a B2B product page because oftentimes it's sort of seen as like, well, the customer's educated, they know all of these things about it, but actually in the e-commerce world, you might have new buyers that you need to try and explain these types of things to as well. And then the final couple here are things that are very much kind of B2C style experiences that really should be dropped in on a B2B world as well. So add to cart obviously is a really important one on a B2B page, but the add to cart button should be prominent, easy to use, and very simple to add something to the cart through the product pages. But also things like wish list options. So being able to save things to shopping lists, being able to save things to wish lists, for example, simple buttons that can be used for people to kind of buy now or save stuff for later. And the final one being customer reviews. This one is absolutely huge and becoming bigger in B2B as well. But reviews are so important, and reviews in B2C context have been kind of talked about to death, really. But they're becoming more important from a B2B perspective as well, because people want to know that the product is good, that it doesn't get returned a lot, for example, that it was packaged nicely and all that kind of stuff, if that's important for the particular product. So these are all things that can really massively help from a conversion rate standpoint that are typically seen as more B2C style stuff, but actually, are becoming really important from a B2B standpoint on an e-commerce website.
I mean, I'm playing devil's advocate, I suppose, in some respects here.
Yeah.
What about when you have, if you are a business that has been maybe selling for, 20, 30 years B2B through, POs or, raising invoices through a very much kind of, maybe sort of more monotonous, labor-intensive process. Is there a school of thought that says, look, going too much in this direction towards B2C can have a negative effect?
Yeah, I think you're right in terms of, you know, this is relevant for a certain cohort of businesses. One of the steps I'm going to come on to later on actually will kind of cover an area that is important for businesses of that kind of ilk as well. Well, what I would say is, like, you can't rest on your laurels with that either. And the generation of buyers that are coming through are definitely expecting more of this kind of style as well. So whether your legacy of buying has been on purchase orders and through manual processes and phone orders and things like that, of course, these things haven't been important to the buyers that you've been working with in the past, but they will become more important to those kind of more millennial and you know and even younger buyers as they come through into the business world. And so it can't really be overlooked from that standpoint. They just buy in different ways. They just have a very different expectation of how things should work.
Absolutely, because I suppose I think it's a social change that's happening, isn't it? And everyone
absolutely
realize that impacts it. And I suppose the other point on this about the kind of the add to cart, if someone's sitting there at the moment who maybe is a, you know, I guess long-term B2B seller, you know, you said there about obviously kind of the add to cart options. If they're there going, well, hang on a minute, look, I've got different pricing for different customers, I've got volume discounts, like, how do you tackle that?
Yeah, I mean, frankly, through tools like SparkLayer that can help to kind of manage those types of different pricing situations and volume-based discounts on the same web page. So that's exactly the type of thing that we would offer. But yeah, absolutely. Like those things are really complicated and hard things to kind of dig into initially. But what I would say is, if you've got a lot of different price lists and you've got a lot of different volume-based discounts, that it becomes really confusing for you to manage. It's probably also confusing for your B2B customer as well. So trying to simplify some of that and like kind of settle it down into different customer groups that are a little bit easier to manage and therefore easier to display is also, you know, a really good thing to do at this point where you're deciding, what do I actually need on my B2B website?
Absolutely. Thank you. I mean, and Namin, I want to just come to you for a second as well. I suppose, look, in terms of the things that Alex mentions here, I suppose, look, ultimately for you as a CRO strategist who deals with both D2C and brands that have a mix between B2B and D2C, I'm imagining, look, these are all the things that you would advocate for as well, right?
I can say it looks at different groups, but the expectation are totally different, and sometimes Alex is totally right. For example, B2B business owner needs the shipping time is important rather than the, for example, B2C clients. And we need to keep the balance for the B2B and the B2C clients at the same time. And for example, I see customer reviews, maybe B2B clients expect to see only specific region pet brand owners. For example, USA owners. Maybe we need to add a filter, filtering the reviews, because they are curious how many days they need to wait to reach to their products, for example. And yes, it's very hard to keep if you sell your products at the same time B2B and the B2C, but we need to specialize our website or store for B2C clients.
Yeah, good point.
Yeah. I guess, look, what I'm hearing from you guys is like, look, we need to use the frameworks from B2C into B2B, but the contextualization for that needs to be relevant for a B2B buyer. So, you know, for example, I guess I'm thinking off the top of my head here, you know, when you're on a D2C site, it says, you know, Richard from London has just bought X. That's not really going to be the contextualization of that in a B2B context going to happen. But however, if it is, we've got reviews underneath that said, you know, look, you've got a review from Richard, who is a project manager from X company, has been working with, I've been buying them from 3 or 4 years as a review. The contextualization of that is
That's
different.
absolutely right. Yeah, it's exactly right. It's taking the fundamentals and the concepts of B2C e-commerce and applying them in a B2B sense. So yeah, you're absolutely right. It's that framework, but it's not an exact replica of those things.
Sure. Shall we go on to the next one, Alex?
Yeah, go for it.
Cool. So tactic 2, allow customers to request a quote.
Yeah, so this one is a really interesting one. So requesting a quote kind of does what it says on the tin, but I think what allows a customer to do is kind of dip a toe in the water a little bit with kind of sending an inquiry, if you like. So, and this is really relevant for if you're trying to convert a lot of new customers, or if you have a product which is quite configurable, and therefore your existing customers need to be able to kind of ask a little bit more about certain kind of configurations or setups, for example, for the product. So, that could be particularly relevant for things like solar panels, green energy, that kind of thing, industries that we see this quite a lot in. But requesting a quote can be a really good way to boost conversion rates, because what it allows you to do is gather a lot of information about what that customer needs or what they're interested in, with a fairly strong buying signal, but without them having to actually buy something right now. And therefore you can then follow up with them with some easy engagement, interact with that person. Some tools like the SparkLayer quoting tool, for example, allows you to communicate and negotiate with that customer directly within the tool. So that makes it really easy for you to kind of have this back and forth with the customer, and kind of understand a little bit more about what they're after, and kind of debate with them a little bit what they need for that product. So this could be a really good way to boost conversion rates. It's obviously something that's slightly more B2B focused than it is more B2C. So super interesting one to kind of explore.
It's interesting on that front. I want to give an example here at the moment. I am currently looking at kind of these garden rooms, sort of home offices. And one of the things that obviously is frustrating me as a customer is that I'm looking for exactly this. I'm looking for them to going to give me a quote. If the businesses are using SparkLayer, so what you're saying is that if I put in the dimension, say, for example, of my requirements I'm looking for, in SparkLayer, then you can sort of set up some form of kind of calculation process.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, there's those types of things can be done within there, or even like custom products can be added by sales reps and things like that. So if let's say you had someone come and actually view your property and say, what does Adam actually need from a garden room, they can start configuring a cart with all of the things in there, and they can add custom products with custom dimensions and things like that in there as well, so that you can then have a quote to review afterwards and say, yeah, actually I'm pretty happy with that, and then proceed with that as well. So it kind of works both ways, but yeah, absolutely that type of thing.
Excellent. Okay, cool. And I think the interesting thing here is when it comes to looking at conversions, I suppose this gives us another layer of conversion, does some better data, doesn't it? Because I guess, look, you're looking at a conversion from the RFQ in terms of getting completion to the form, but equally then from completion to offer, and then from offer to actually purchase. So I suppose it can help you break down your sales funnel a bit better than maybe you would do if you were purely doing it on the basis of, look, contact us now.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think what it allows you to do is really capture people further up the funnel as well. If you're simply just allowing customers to add to cart and check out, then you're going to get a lot of customers that maybe add stuff to cart and don't check out. And then you've got to have a whole abandoned basket campaign around that to try and follow up with them. Whereas if you can get them to submit a quote, you gather a lot more information, and there's a lot more ability to kind of follow up and a bit more impetus to keep that buying journey going. So it can be a really nice way to manage that sales funnel, as you said.
Yeah. Okay, cool. Excellent. Let's go on to the third one, Alex. So optimize my account for conversions.
Yep. So this actually comes back to a little bit of what you were talking about before. So you've got some customers who, legacy B2B, they've always sort of bought the same products. Maybe they know exactly what products that they're going to buy already. So, if I'm a merchant and I've run a B2B business for a long time, my customers are going to be pretty clued up on exactly what products that they want, and maybe even they're just ordering the same products again and again. Utilizing the My Account section on a B2B page can be really different to the B2C sort of My Account section that you'd be used to. So not only would you expect to see all of your orders in one place, for example, but on a B2B account section, it's very common to be able to quickly reorder all of the products again that you ordered in your last order, for example. And this means you can save a bunch of time where you're not having, like, your customers aren't having to go and navigate a bunch of different product pages and add things to cart. Like I said, for the ones who are really clued up on exactly what they're going to be buying, maybe they're just replenishing stock over and over again, utilizing your My Account section to make it really straightforward for people to be able to order again can be a really good way to boost conversions.
Because I think this is a big area of kind of concern, and I think when people are selling B2B, I think the conversation that we have, it's always that question around the account area.
Yeah,
and I think a lot of the time we've seen a lot of brands that have come to us who have had kind of custom built account areas that frankly just aren't really fit for purpose.
No,
this thing, you need that clarity.
Yes.
Of ease.
Yes, definitely. It can be an area where people try and pack in so much to a B2B My Account area because they want to make it so easy that it becomes so complicated that no one actually uses it, and it kind of has that catch-22 about it. For us, like, obviously we've tried to optimize the account area that we're offering to our customers based off of the feedback of 2000. So we're hoping that not hoping, we know that it works really well from a quick reordering standpoint. But like I said, it kind of depends on the type of customer that you're trying to win and the type of customer that you're working with, and you really want to make this account area a focus if you know that your customers are well educated, that they know exactly what they're buying, and they're often reordering products. If that isn't the case, then you probably want to try and sort of move them more towards the product pages where they can do a bit more discovery, and then you can try and sort of upsell them in different ways as well.
I think the other thing as well, Alex, like from my point of view on this, working with brands over the years, I remember one in particular that they were dealing with something like, I think, 2,500 email inquiries every 3 days.
Right.
Because they were B2B, and frankly, being honest with you, the site was terrible. It wasn't an account area. Everything was done by invoice.
Yeah.
And I think, this is another aspect of it. It's like, if you're sitting there right now going, look, oh yeah, that's me. We are getting all those customer service inquiries from business customers. I think, having an account area like this, probably solve some of those woes as well, couldn't it?
Yeah, absolutely. It's like on the B2C side, like the classic example is the sort of "where is my order" type questions. Is this like the B2B equivalent of the simple reordering of a product that just clogs up sales teams' times? And we've had customers that say exactly the same, that before they were using a system like SparkLayer, they were spending their time just dealing with people who simply just wanted to order the same product that they'd ordered previously. And you don't really want sales reps dealing with that. It's an expensive waste of time. So have an account section where it makes it really straightforward to someone to be able to just quickly order those products again, and see where they are with their order, see what the status is, tracking numbers, etc. That can be a really, really powerful thing.
Excellent.
And I would like to give another example. I see, for example, consider buying behavior, repurchasing. For example, listing two different order. As a B2C, you have only 10 products in your stock. If you have a B2C business, you can see hurry up, limited product. But if you show this limited stock B2B, it will be risky, because some B2B brands would like to repurchase next month, and if you copy to B2C websites for your B2B brand, it will not work. Also, it may decrease your conversion rate.
Yeah.
And Alex is totally right. We need to keep the balance B2B and to B2C.
Yeah, that's a really good point. Yeah, that stock indication piece almost works in the opposite way, doesn't it? On B2B versus B2C.
It's an odd phenomenon, isn't it? It's completely inverse, isn't it, for both different types of shopper.
Absolutely.
Okay, excellent. Thank you very much, Alex. We're going to now pass it over to Namin. And Namin, I think you were going to start off with looking at, I guess, sort of displaying particular information to the VAT inclusive and the VAT inclusive and exclusive pricing, aren't you?
And first of all, I want to say, if you have a B2B web store, you need to be transparent for your pricing strategy. For example, if you say you need to pay 100 USD and later I will visit on the store, I will see additional VAT. It will be very hard. Also, maybe you show the total price on the product detail page, but it includes the VAT, and you need to show the pricing with VAT, exclude VAT, because it will be extremely important for the B2B client. And we always we work with the B2B clients. We always try to show the different pricing. You can see some example. Show price include VAT is like a toggle. It's the one option. Also, on the navigation, on the PDP or collection page, you can show the two different price, and it will be very helpful for the stores, B2B stores, because they think, okay, I will pay 100 USD, but actually it includes the VAT. It will be amazing for the B2B stores, but we expect, okay, our visitor will understand, but it will not work. So you need to be always transparent. For you will have a pricing transparent policy.
I think I was going to say in a minute, look, for me as well with this one, this is very much, I think, if again, looking at the B2C mindset initially, what we know as a group is that, look, when you show shipping information earlier on in the buying process, you then have less cart abandonment down the line. And I guess this is the same thing, isn't it, here, is that we're not talking about showing the shipping here, we're showing about that VAT price. And I think, particularly for, if you're selling to smaller businesses that aren't VAT registered, making sure they know that, look, there is going to be this additional cost. I think when you are VAT registered, it's less important if you're bigger. I think the tricky thing here as well is with US brands, particularly when you have, a very kind of chaotic taxation structure you have in the US. But I think there's things that you can do about, sort of saying, look, state level taxes will apply to this order. More information earlier on the product page, the more chance we've then, I guess, got of converting, haven't we?
Yes, exactly. Some also websites ask where you base it on the PDV. You can choose the country later. It will be calculated your pricing by country. It includes a different VAT. Some platforms also do it.
Excellent. Cool. Let's look at the next one then. So display unit price to increase buyer confidence.
Yes, I really love this strategy because we tested it a few times and it worked very well. For example, you sell t-shirts and 100 products. 100 products, maybe it costs 2000 USD, and I need to order, but I think it's very expensive. Just the idea, but if I show you need to pay only 10 USD per t-shirt, okay, it will be very cheap for me because I will sell these products 20 USD. And as a B2B business owner, the most important things, unit pricing. And we also tested this strategy on the B2C clients. For example, some companies sell cosmetic, nutrition. It includes any package includes 20 product, 20 quantity, and we always show the pricing. You will only one USD per day. Okay, it always work for especially B2C clients. You will only pay 1 USD per for your BT, only 1 USD, and we highly recommend showing the unit pricing on your product detail page.
Yeah, excellent. Okay, cool. All right. Let's have a look at the next one then. So encouraging your visitors to buy more.
Yes, another option, you can you can increase your average order value. For example, I am planning to order 20 products for my physical store, but I see if I order 50 products, I will save. And I think, okay, I will order next month. Let's order at the same time today because I would like to save. We highly recommend using the some platforms by order save more strategy. You can use some widgets, some platforms, and it will be very helpful to increase revenue per visitor and the average order value for wholesale orders. But this strategy works for B2B and B2C. We
Yeah,
generally
absolutely.
use the B2C clients.
This is a huge one for our customers. Loads of them use quantity-based discounting like this to try and encourage people to spend more, but obviously like offer a slightly different unit price as they go through the discount tiers. So yeah, this one's absolutely massive.
Yes, by the way, sorry, I interrupted. Some brands also implement this strategy to, how I can say, loyalty programs. And if you order 100 products, we will give a free shipping, universal free shipping and international free shipping. I don't know. And or they give a huge credit. You can transfer the discounts the next time. And yes, you can utilize this strategy for in a different way.
I was going to say on this one, Alex, from a Spark Layer perspective, when it comes obviously to these volume discounts, and obviously you guys are able to display these on site to different types of customers that they then have. When it comes to an email marketing point of view, what can you guys do there in terms of sharing that information? Is it something that can be automated in, I guess, in the same way that you would have sort of an abandoned cart style message for B2C? Is there anything on the email front that is kind of done in the B2B world on the email marketing front? Because that's obviously for us, email marketing is a big part of our world.
There is. It isn't currently like an automated thing between Spark Layer and say like a Klaviyo at this point. What a lot of our customers do is have like a B2B segment that they put together within Klaviyo, and then they obviously send quite different marketing messages to those. So provided that you can get the information for that out of Shopify, for example, and then put it in something like Klaviyo, then the world's your oyster, really. But yeah, I think that is something that we'll look at in future, is kind of how much more of this we can put into Klaviyo directly, so that you could say put some of these pricing tiers in an email campaign. So yeah, it's a super interesting point, and email is often quite an overlooked sort of channel for boosting conversions. So yeah, really interesting one to try and look at.
Yeah, I mean, I think just generally with B2B, I think as time goes on, there's more that is going to, I think, transfer over. And I think one of the things I'm quite interested in at the minute is I know there are quite a few brands out there who are trying video commerce as kind of a way to improve conversion. So you've got a lot of D2C brands who will use shoppable video on site to then convert people to show them the fit, the look, etc., etc.
Yeah.
I've seen some others now where you've got businesses that are basically got product, part-based product, that are then showing those videos and then having basically a call to action to buy now on that product as well.
Yeah.
And then through to purchase. So it'd be interesting to see what happens. I mean, one of the things, obviously, you mentioned Klaviyo there a moment ago. Obviously, they had a pretty significant conference yesterday in London. They were talking obviously about plans of the future. I think they were talking there obviously about things like, for example, WhatsApp marketing.
Yeah.
How far do you think it can go from a B2B point of view with some of these? Some people will look at sort of more gimmicky.
Yeah.
Kind of
I think in some industries, I think some industries that would be really interesting. We've got quite a few vape clients, for example. That kind of thing I can imagine being really interesting for them. And WhatsApp's an interesting thing anyway, because a lot of customers, we talked about emailing and phoning before, but the reality is like a lot of customers talk about the fact that their customers will WhatsApp them with an order. One of the things that we've been working on is kind of looking at how we can get information out of something like WhatsApp into Spark Layer's cart to make it really easy for someone to order again. So Yeah, those things are interesting. They're a little bit more sort of conceptual at this point, but they're 100% worth talking about, because that is probably the future of where things will end up. Simply sending a WhatsApp to a sales rep and then it, putting through an order on a cart, that would be huge.
And look, we can't do a webinar or an event in obviously 2025 without mentioning those two letters. One begins with A and one is I. It kind of pains me. And look, I know, honestly, look, I'm talking a lot about myself. I did a webinar about AI yesterday as well. From an AI point of view, what is happening, I guess, with you guys at the minute from a B2B point of view that is, I guess, interesting you and interesting your clients from helping to convert?
Yeah, I think there's two aspects of AI. One is how does it make it easier for someone to be able to put an order through? So, for example, like we're using AI right now in that same sense of what I just talked about with WhatsApp. Like a customer can forward an email to the SparkLayer cart. It will digest the SKUs that were in that email and put it into the cart for you. So there's a little bit of AI behind the scenes, kind of managing that, which is pretty cool. So there's an aspect of how do I make it easier for a customer to actually just put an order through, and how does AI help me do that? And then the second aspect is, how do I use AI to understand what my customers are doing and make some decisions based off of that? So that then becomes more of like the sort of analytics, the reporting side of things, and those aspects as well. And then how do I put that into sort of actionable insights? And I think it's at its easiest level, those will be the two areas where B2B e-commerce will kind of, it will have an impact that will be net positive for B2B e-commerce. The bit that is kind of unknown is how AI in general will change e-commerce in general, and how people search, how people shop. There's that sort of partnership between Shopify and ChatGPT that everyone's kind of speculated about. So that bit is sort of, I think it's sort of known and unknown exactly what that means in terms of how people will shop in the future. What that means exactly for B2B e-commerce, I don't know, because I think B2B commerce in general has been slightly further behind B2C e-commerce. So these things tend to trickle down, but then it could be one of the things that really kind of skyrockets it forward. So you never know.
Cool.
Bit of a non-answer, really.
No, I mean, look, but who knows? I mean, like you say, the rate of change is so quick. I think the rate of adoption, I think, is a slightly different point.
Yeah.
And like I said there again, I think you bang on there. There's that kind of trickle down effect, isn't there, from B2C into B2B? But like I say, will that kind of change in the next few years? Who knows? But no, look, it's interesting
to be seen.
Yeah. Nimit, I think you're going to talk a little bit about AI in a moment or two, but I think with this tactic, we're talking about evaluating the category menu. So what do we mean here?
First of all, I want to say thank you to Bob. If you have a store, you always struggle to your information architect. And for example, you sell shoes and sports shoes, and which main category is suitable for the sports shoes? For example, sport outdoor, or for example, another shoes. So it's very hard to navigate for the visitors, and you can validate your category by using our ChatGPT prompt. And for example, I would like to share a real case study from our clients. Bob's created a new ChatGPT prompt, and we validated for lots of the brands, and we realized one of our clients has wholesale landing page. However, they did not involve the category menu on the navigation, and the lots of visitor unfortunately can't discover the wholesale landing page on the category menu. And after using this ChatGPT prompt, and we suggested let's involve our navigation bar, and our client was very surprised at how we forget that it's, and let's do it quickly. And you can create a report, you can check your category menu by using different personas. I will share it on the link on the chat comments area at once.
Thanks, Amin. And guys, we'll send that through to you as well. But I think, look, this is more generally speaking as well, when it comes to making those improvements to conversion, from our point of view with AI, there is a lot you can do on that data side. There is a lot of talk at the moment on e-commerce about, look, creating headlines or doing creative assets for it. From an internal point of view at Blend, we don't see it that way as the key value of it. We think from an e-commerce perspective, both from a B2B and a B2C, it's how can you analyze your data better and pull the insights out from that actually can help you then go and make decisions about what you then need on site. So as I say, we'll send this link through, and there's some more information that we can share as well, like the kind of things you can do here. So Nimin, thank you for sharing that. What I was going to say at this point then is, guys, we have come to the point where we have had some brave souls who have offered to have a teardown or a review of the site. And I've been called out recently for calling it a teardown. I mean, look, some people like the pain. That
might have been me, to be fair.
Yeah, exactly. So I think what we want to do is we want to do these live review times. We've had a few of you obviously submit your URLs. What I would say is, if you are listening and would like us to have a look at your site, we won't have time to do it now, but do send it in and we can have a look at that and get back to you. So at this point then, Nimin, shall I stop sharing and you can share your screen? And
yes,
maybe
of course.
In a second who the first company is. And then obviously you can give us your view, and Alex and I can chip in.
Sounds good.
2 brands have already shared their websites, and still you can send your websites on the comments area. Let's check it. I see this client sell especially.
Website, sorry, Nimin. What's the name of the website?
Sorry, S-Patch. And I see they generally sell. You can see page. I can order products. For example, I would like to customize for my country, my store, as possible, or another options. Just a second. And I would like to share some strategy, some recommendation from CRO perspective. And first thing, it's a common wrong behavior. Lots of brands only writes color text in a text. For example, you can see you need to choose a pet shape or border type. I need to choose a no border with stitches. Not write with a text. Please show how it looks. Some companies write a white, purple, but you need to show the color how it looks, or you need to show the pet shape how it looks. And some brands place the hyperlink. You can open, you can see how it looks. And these brands expect their visitors will dream it how it looks. But I highly recommend you need to show how it looks. And another option, you can place your key value propositions, for example, free shipping, 100 clients from the world, or experience, or another, for example, return policy. If you have a huge return policy, or I remember, yes, there are the quick shipping, but I couldn't see. It's very hard to see all details. And we tested a few times. We placed the key value proposition below the at the cart button. It worked very well. And yes, also you can also add some. For example, you can visualize. You can add a subcategories. You can use our ChatGPT prompt. Later, you can create a subcategory and add some icons. You can redesign the navigation. And we highly recommend adding a frequently asked question. Alex has already explained how it's will be important. It will take more time to answer your client's questions, and every second maybe you will not see in a 4 hours, and potentially this client will prefer ordering a product from your competitor. So we highly recommend adding a accordion menu, more information, for example, shipping, delivery time, the details. Yes, that's all. Yes, you can see, you can add thumbnails, or you can enable the search bar, the common UX best practice, but I would like to emphasize B2B CRO suggestions.
I mean, I guess the thing with this one as well, is obviously, look, they're very clearly selling both D2C and obviously B2B. And I feel like, at the minute, it feels like it's kind of not made for either of those. It kind of feels like they're in this kind of sort of no man's land in some respects. I think my point of view on here is that, is there anything when you actually click into the volume, click into the quantities, of any indication of the discounts for volume?
Yeah, that was my comment as well. Like in the images, they've got the different pricing tables, but it isn't actually dynamically changing as you're adding it to the cart. It does actually then apply a discount at the checkout when you go to the checkout, but it's a slightly confusing customer experience to have that. You can see as I add, as Namir adds 1,200 in there, it doesn't actually change the price. So. So yeah, I think that's sort of related to my feedback as well, Adam. Like, sort of feels like it's kind of sat between B2C and B2B, but not really doing either. And so I would suggest it would be a good thing to kind of separate those two experiences out. Have B2B customers log in and then be able to, display that pricing in a slightly more dynamic way for them.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I think the other thing as well, even if it's at the stage where it doesn't make sense, financially maybe to have an account area, even basically a radio button that would then change the form before you actually then get to completion. Because think at the minute, like I say, it's quite confusing, and completely agree with you, Namin. You're relying upon here with a customizable product to not have any visualization. I think, look, in an ideal scenario when there's no object, look, 3D model will be great. I agree, like for now, maybe at an earlier stage, you're having those images of the patches of the colors to show, you can start to then build up more of a picture, can't you?
I think another point for if you're at sort of elite levels, and this is definitely for something to think about after you've implemented some of the things that you both have talked about there. But what a lot of B2B customers also like to see is a sort of matrix view, where if you're ordering multiple different colors and sizes, you've got one big grid with all the colors and the different sizes on there where you can add them all to the cart at once. So that could be something to consider later on as well.
And I think the thing as well is, like, for me, if there is a focus on B2B here, I think having a quick CTA for grab your sample, and then taken to a landing page that helps them put their information in. That sample's then set out. So again, you've got a separate flow for those B2B customers. Particularly in this industry, people are going to want a sample if it's a cap, to then give them the opportunity then to buy.
Yep, absolutely.
By the way, some B2B websites also for example, still, do you need help? You can reach us at a hyperlink, at a about or contact page hyperlink, because one lead, maybe it costs 200,000 USD. So they never want to miss any potential client. So we also suggest emphasizing their contact page, about us page, and I see this client has experience in almost 20 years in this area, and but at the moment they do not emphasize on their PDP also, or the websites. And yes, or suggestions. And let's check another clients. I see this client sell rings, and I choose a ring. First of all, I can say I worked at different clients, but the common issue, lots of visitors, lots of users don't know how they measure their size, or there are no size guides. And we highly recommend adding a size guide, placing the size guide in this area, because I don't know which size is my will available for me, and they can place a size guide. Also, let's check the. Yes, they place it the product recommendation models. However, they can create a bundle, like a complete the look. This ring will be perfect. These, I don't know, is another watches or earrings, and it's possible they can create some complete looks bundles. Let's check it. And I'm not sure they have a different wholesale. It looks like maybe.
Yeah, I think it looks like they've got a different wholesale site that's separate. Although obviously we can't access it because we've not got a wholesale account.
And I think that's the point that I wanted to bring up here, Alex, on that front.
Mhm.
Is when it comes to sort of, B2B,
Mhm.
having this kind of wholesale site where you have to create an account first. What are the sort of pros and cons from your guys' perspective of doing that versus having it all in one?
Yeah, what some of our customers have done is allowed like a very lax application process where you get access to a sort of base level account where you may even only be allowed to request a quote in that account, for example. So it's very much a kind of, you can view the products but not really do very much in that initial wholesale account. Until you've kind of requested a quote, had a conversation, and then you get access to the actual pricing. So that's kind of what some of our customers have done. But then others, there's a necessity to capture more information and actually view the sort of business credentials of that particular potential customer. So particularly where you've got sort of medical equipment that you're selling. For example, the other day there was one a potential customer of ours that I spoke to who was in the charity sector, so they needed to make sure that the people that they were selling to were actually people that were actually in need of the charity work that they were doing, for example. So it kind of depends, really, I suppose, is the answer. If you've not got a need to capture a ton of information up front about that particular merchant or particular customer, then I don't think it's necessary. What I will say, though, is that on this particular website, I think they do a really good job of selling why someone should stock their products. So I think this page that the Min's on right now is a really good page where it kind of talks about the different reasons why someone would order through this particular why someone would order their particular products. There's a really nice personal touch later on as well, where they've got the picture of the sales and marketing manager as well, I think, with their contact details as well. So I think they do a really good job on this page of talking about their wholesale business and why someone should apply, with some great customer testimonials on there as well. So one of the things we talked about earlier is reviews. So I think if you scroll down a little bit further in the menu, you'll be able to show those. But I think it's a really good application form page.
So you're saying, look, don't forget the brand story, about us piece,
Yeah,
as well.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, that's your opportunity to capture that demand for a new potential stockist. So yeah, I think this is a really strong page.
And another note is the same issue. They didn't place it the wholesale sales is a possible, but they did not place it on their subcategory, and we highly recommend do it. Also, I remember it will be very helpful for the SEO because search engines scroll it easily, but I am not sure. Some brands specifically as the wholesale page on subcategory for the SEO also. And another note I see is a free express shipping is possible. Also, gifts is a gift card is a possible, but they do not emphasize during the card page. And maybe lots of people order a gift the last time, and if they show the free express shipping as a possible, and maybe it will be increased. They need to also test it.
Yeah, absolutely.
Awesome.
All right, good stuff. Well, guys, thank you very, very much for sharing with us today. And I think, look, it's definitely an area, I think, with the people watching this, I know you'll be saying, well, look, there's things on here that we're doing, there's things we're not doing. And I think the advice really here is kind of saying, look, have a look again at the recording of this webinar today. And if you are watching on record, then you've just watched it, which is great. Hopefully you've got some useful things you can start implementing there. What we are going to do after today's webinar is send you the recording as well as some additional resources too, just to basically make sure that you've got things that are going to be helpful, just in addition to the examples we've got. And then equally as well, guys, again, look, if you do want to get in touch with either myself, with Namin and Alex as well, then obviously do get in touch with us, and the details will all be on the email you'll get from us as well. So last but not least, guys, if you are thinking, well, look, hang on a minute, we are looking for some support to try and work out where we are from a metrics point of view. What do we need to improve on? Are we looking to improve conversion at the moment? Are we looking to improve AOV, or where is it actually need to actually put our funds into something and our resource into something? Do book in for one of our Metric on Fire diagnostic sessions. That'll be either with myself or Peter, my business partner. And in that, we'll take you through some areas that we think you guys can look at. And then equally as well, if you are looking at this saying, look, we are already within B2B, we know that we need to do better in terms of serving up our customers, our B2B customers, what they need, making it easy for them to buy. There is a QR code, of course, there to then speak with Alex and his colleagues over at SparkLayer, and they also can take you through a very detailed consultation about what you might need and what you don't need for the future when it comes to B2B. So, guys, thank you very much for being on with us today. Absolute pleasure. And yeah, I hope you've enjoyed it being with us. And yeah, thanks very much, Namin and Alex.
Yeah, thanks for having me.
Thanks, everyone.
No worries. And guys, thank you for tuning in. And we'll see you again very soon with the CRO Playbook series. Cheers.